From the camera in your hand to the stars in the sky, the first person to unravel the secrets of light was Ibn al-Haytham. I was born in 965 in Basra. My name is Ibn al-Haytham. In the Western world, I am known as Al-Hazan. Since childhood, I believed in one thing: truth must be questioned. In my time, people treated the words of ancient Greek scholars as almost sacred. If Aristotle or Ptolemy said something, no one dared to question it. But I thought differently. If a claim is true, it must be proven through experiment, I said. I studied mathematics, geometry, and astronomy. At a young age, my name began to be known. My reputation reached Egypt, and the Fatimid Caliph invited me to Cairo. He asked me to design a project to stop the flooding of the Nile River. At first, I believed it might be possible. But as I studied the Nile more closely, I realized the truth. With the technology of that time, it was impossible. I knew the Caliph's anger could be dangerous. So for a time, I pretended to have lost my sanity. I was placed under house arrest. Perhaps I lost my freedom, but not my thoughts. It was during that period of isolation that I carried out my most important work. I began with a simple question: how do humans see? The common belief was that rays came out of our eyes, struck objects and returned to us. That, people believed, was how we saw. But this did not make sense to me. I prepared a dark room and allowed light to enter through a small opening. On the opposite wall, I observed an inverted image. Today, this device is known as the camera obscura. My experiments showed me something revolutionary. Light does not come from the eyes. On the contrary, light reflects from objects and enters our eyes. That is how vision occurs. This discovery was not merely an idea. It was proven through experiment. I gathered my work in a book titled Kitab al-Manazir, known in the West as the Book of Optics. For me, what mattered was not only the result, it was the method. First, observe, then doubt, form a hypothesis, and test it through experiment. Today, you call this the scientific method. I called it the discipline of seeking truth. Years later, my works were translated from Arabic into Latin. Scholars in Europe studied them. Johannes Kepler used my ideas in his studies of light refraction. Roger Bacon embraced a similar experimental approach. I did not work only on optics. I also wrote on mathematics, astronomy, and geometry, more than 100 works in total. But what I am most proud of is this: I taught people one principle. Do not believe something simply because an authority says it. Experiment, question, prove. In 1040, I closed my eyes to this world in Cairo. Perhaps my name is not mentioned as often as Isaac Newton. Perhaps I am not as famous as Albert Einstein. But if science today is built upon experimentation, if you understand light, cameras, and lenses, then my trace is there. I am Ibn al-Haytham, and I chose to seek truth through experiment.